Are you looking for the best 3D printers under $1,000? In this video, we will look at some of the best 3D printers under $1,000 on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. ELEGOO Mars 2 Pro. The ELEGOO Mars 2 Pro is so good, it made its way into all of our top picks articles. Despite being superseded by the newer Mars 3, the Mars 2 Pro offers a smaller overall footprint and lower lifetime costs, as it's much cheaper to buy and maintain. If you're looking for a small form factor resin 3D printer, then the ELEGOO Mars 2 Pro is one of our top picks. ELEGOO quickly set itself apart from the competition with quality of life features, such as a charcoal air filter, an easy-to-level print bed, and one of the lowest initial prices for a monochrome LCD printer. The ELEGOO Mars 2 Pro, like all resin 3D printers, produces excellent quality prints, which are often indistinguishable from cast resin miniatures. Some users may take the issue that the lid has to be removed to access the printer, as it takes additional space to store the lid. However, we found this to be a minor issue in the office. The Mars 2 has an extremely small print volume of 129 mm, 129 mm, liters x 80 mm, W x 160 mm, H, which limits the printer to very small prints. Number 2. ELEGOO Saturn. The ELEGOO Saturn returns from our top $500 list to the top $1,000 list. Equipped with a large 4K monochrome LCD panel for quick and high-quality printing, and an absurdly low price tag of $499, the Saturn quickly became the 3D printing industry's equivalent of the 2020 to 2021 graphics card shortage. Prices quickly jumped to $700-800 due to demand, but thankfully fell back to under $500 in the last year, due to supply catching up to demand. The Saturn sports a much larger 9 monochrome LCD screen, with an overall build volume of 192 mm, liters x 120 mm, W x 200 mm, H, which gives users a much bigger build volume to work around with. This often means that users can print 1/7 scale figures in one piece, as opposed to several on smaller printers. Like all resin 3D printers, the Saturn can output excellent quality resin prints that, however, users not requiring the larger print volume of the Saturn will quickly find themselves disappointed in the Saturn's increased resin consumption and steeper learning curve due to the much larger build volume. This has resulted in many users being frustrated with wasted resin and failed prints, and the frustration is further compounded by how expensive resin is compared to. Number 3. Anycubic Photon Mono X. Like the ELEGOO Saturn, the Anycubic Mono X makes a return to the top $1,000 resin printer list. Internally, it was identical to the Saturn with some additional features, such as a superior bed leveling mechanism and built-in Wi-Fi. However, at launch, its higher price tag and lack of software compatibility made it a hard sell compared to the Saturn. Like the Saturn, it sports a 4K monochrome LCD, which produces excellent quality prints. However, it does feature a taller print volume at 192 mm, liters x 120 mm, W x 245 mm, H, which gives it an impressive 40 mm height advantage over the ELEGOO Saturn. We found the Wi-Fi feature to be entirely useless, and despite the Mono X being available for a few years now, Anycubic has done nothing to ensure it works. However, that is not the case with slicer compatibility. At launch it was not compatible with popular slicers like Chichibox and Litchi. Still, over time both programs included support for the Mono X, making the Mono X an easy recommendation for us. Anycubic has released its new Photon M3 line, which features a resolution and builds volume upgrade. However, due to the lack of its availability, we still recommend the Mono X and the Mono X. Number 4. Prusa MK3S. Despite originally being released in 2017, the Prusa MK3S Plus remains one of the most popular medium-sized 3D printers on the market, and for a good reason. Over the next 4 years, it received several updates to become the gold standard for modern 3D printers. Users can purchase a kit for $749, or opt for the fully assembled printer for $999, which places the Prusa MK3S in the upper range of 3D printers for hobbyists. Equipped with a huge number of features such as silent stepper drivers, filament runout detection, automatic bed leveling, a direct drive extruder, and a removable flexible print surface, that's still considered class-leading despite being released so long ago. However, its best feature is how well it is supported by both the company and the 3D printer community. With its ecosystem of branded slicer and filament, the Prusa MK3S Plus can achieve high-quality prints and relatively high speeds. There is no looking away from the relatively small print volume of 250 mm, liters x 210 mm, W x 210 mm, H, and dated design completed with a monochrome LCD and click wheel navigation. There is also additional pressure from competitors such as the Creality Ender V2, offering nearly identical print quality at a tiny fraction of the price, or the Voron series, which offers faster printing at the same price. Overall, we would highly recommend the MK3s to users looking for a high-performance workhorse of a 3D printer that works well out of the box. However, users looking for the bleeding edge of consumer 3D printers are best served by looking at some of the other. Number 5. Creality Ender 3 V2. Despite being labeled as a budget printer, the Creality Ender 3 V2 can easily hold its own against the most expensive printers on the consumer market. When Creality released the original Ender 3, it was a bare-bones machine, but highly reliable, affordable, and produced good quality prints. The Creality Ender 3 V2 took the fundamentals of reliability and affordability and added many upgrades to improve the overall user experience. No longer do you need to spend several $100s to get silent stepper drivers and a non-monochrome LCD. This printer also has a respectable build volume of 220 mm, liters x 220 mm, W x 250 mm, H, which allows it to fit 90% of prints most users would need, and arrives mostly assembled in 2 major parts, and can be assembled and printing in about 30 minutes. Thanks to its well-documented assembly instructions, we found that the Ender 3 V2's print quality is among the best of the budget 3D printers, rivaling the print quality of our printers that cost over $1,000. While reliability and print quality are kings with the Ender 3 V2, it has few. First, despite being equipped with TMC silent stepper drivers, which ensure that the motion of the 3D printer is incredibly quiet, we found that the printer as a whole is loud due to the noisy, poor quality fans that are always on. Many users might not prefer having a glass print surface, as it does make print removal tricky without tools, or cooling the print surface to release completed prints. And lastly, the Ender 3 V2 does print relatively slowly on its stock settings. Users can tweak and tune the settings to improve print times, but out of the box, the Ender 3 V2 is slower than many of its rivals. Number 6. Anycubic Vyper. Recently, Anycubic was more synonymous with resin 3D printers than FDM 3D printers, due to its success with its resin 3D printers. When they retired its ancient Mega line, many wondered if they would bow out entirely of the FDM 3D printer market. However, this was not the case with the Anycubic Vyper. The Vyper was Anycubic's answer to the new generation of 3D printers, and it definitely has the fangs to take a bite out of its competition. Sporting many high-level features such as automatic bed leveling, a color touch screen, a dual-drive extruder, and a magnetic flexible build plate, it definitely aimed to take the crown away from Prusa as one of the most feature-packed consumer 3D printers on the market. It definitely did threaten Prusa with its great print quality, ease of setup, and sub-$500 price tag. However, it was not a complete win for Anycubic. Users complained about the quality control of its dual-drive extruder, as some were flawless, while others had print quality issues due to low-quality components within it. Its user experience was not nearly as polished as Prusa, as the software included was outdated and required some tuning from users before it fully realized its print quality potential. Finally, its community was very small compared to the Prusa community, making sourcing community help that much harder. Overall, from a value standpoint, the Vyper is one of the strongest contenders in the sub-$500